Welcome everyone, it's my daily vlog channel, Eric B's Daily Vlogs. It is cold, windy, and drizzly for this Memorial Day Monday. And we just did laundry. Yeah. For ya.
Can I have one order pork spaghetti? And one
Two orders. Make it 2 orders.
Oh, 2 orders. Beef sumai. Just one. And then can I get... No shrimp? No, 3. 3 orders shrimp.
Gonna go to town on some dim sum. Man, this weather's terrible. But for today, it's just gonna be kind of chill kind of day. Probably do nothing, whole lot of nothing. I'm gonna make prime rib for dinner, and I'm gonna show you how I make it. All right, here's the meat. Nice big 4-pound meat. Got it at Costco. That's the price. So the way you're gonna do it is first you're gonna clean it. See all that blood? You don't want it, so you're gonna give it a nice rinse. Alright, now once it's washed, you just want to tap it with some paper towel, get rid of all that excess water. Remember the weight, it was 416, remember that weight. Right now you're going to chop some garlic. I like to use garlic, salt, pepper, and that's pretty much it for garnish. But it's up to you what you want to use. Now, it doesn't matter if it's fine, minced, or chopped, because what we're going to do is we're just going to spread this around the meat for later. So next you're going to get some butter, and what we're going to do with the butter is we're going to spread it all over the meat, because this is what we need to stick, to have the salt stick. All right, now you got your meat, it's nice and dry. I got my butter right there. So you're just gonna take some butter and then just pretty much plaster the meat with butter. So yeah, just a generous amount. We're gonna try to cover the whole thing. The only reason why we're doing this is because we want the salt and pepper to stick. And also the butter does add a little flavor. Alright, so butter is pretty much all over the meat. Doesn't have to look pretty, as long as you pretty much have every corner covered. Now again, it's up to you guys what you like to use. I use salt, pepper, and garlic. But if you want to add any other things to make it spicy, you can add some paprika or some other things. So what you want to do now is you want to take the salt and you just want to put a lot around the meat. So what happens is when the butter melts, whatever salt is left is going to stick onto the meat. So that's the whole purpose of the heavy butter. So I just put enough salt around all the sides. And again, you want to put a lot just so, you know, to make sure the butter does stick. Or the salt does stick. Then I take some pepper that I just dropped inside. Same thing, just want to put enough. Not too peppery, but just enough. All right, and final, I'm going to get some garlic, the one we just chopped, and just pretty much put it wherever it'll stick. A lot of people likes to cut it, put it in between the meat, give the meat the flavor. But this is how I like to do it. I like to put it around it, so when it cooks with the meat and the butter. Alright, so that's pretty much the prepping part of it. Now the cooking part. So remember I told you guys to remember the time. Or remember the weight. So the weight was 416. So you can take 416, you're going to times 5. And that's going to be your cooking time. The reason why I say times 5 is because we're going to cook this at 500 heat for 20 minutes. Well, we're going to round up, so it's going to be 21 minutes. So what you want to do now is you want to preheat your oven to 21 to 500. And this is a different oven that I'm used to, because the other oven we had in our other place was digital. So bake, 500, preheat, and once it's done and preheated, you're gonna cook the meat for 21 minutes. And then after the 21 minutes, you're gonna let it sit for 2 hours. There's reasoning behind that too. Alright, so I'm getting ready to put it in the oven. Most important thing about when you're cooking prime rib, make sure you take the meat out for at least about 4 hours before you start cooking. So let it sit for about 4 hours. Room temperature is fine. You want the meat to thaw out nice and warm. So when you put it in, it's not like this chunk of frozen meat that's going to take longer to cook. So I'm going to put it in, and we're going to see this in about 2 hours. Don't forget, you're going to cook at 500 for whatever pounds or however many pounds it is. Mine was, 416, so I'm going to cook it for 21 minutes. I'm going to let it sit for 2 hours after that. And you cannot open the oven for 2 hours. You have to let it sit for 2 hours, not open the oven. And what's going to do after that, while it's cooking, the meat inside is going to cook. You're going to get this nice, pretty much medium rare to rare type of meat. So I'll show you what it looks like when we're done, but do not open it after the 20 minutes is up. Alright, so it's been 2 hours. It's been sitting there, so we're about to take it out. So there's the finished product. It's going to be nice and cooked on the outside, and it's going to be pink on the inside. Let's go cut it up. You see all this stuff right here? This is what you make the au jus with. We don't really like the au jus, so we're not going to make it, but normally you just put this over a broiler, cook it up, put a little baking soda, and you'll be good to go. So look at that meat, nice and tender. I said baking soda, I meant cornstarch. Alright, so we're going to cut a little piece. Been sitting for 2 hours. So it should be nice. See how that looks? Nice and pink on the inside. So again, you guys can do whatever you want, however you want to cook it. This is the way I cook it. Usually I put the herbs herbs de beef bonds or whatever, however you say it, but they don't like it, so I don't use it as much. But it's nice and rare in the middle, how we like it. And then everyone can just warm it up if they want it a little more cooked. So that's how you make the prime rib. That's how I make the prime rib on this Memorial Day. I'm about to go eat, guys. Thanks for watching. Vlog is ended. Go in peace.